Hello learners, welcome to Insta Owl Chemistry class. We believe in democratizing education for all. Today we are going to continue with the chapter Chemical Reaction and Equation. We have discussed some very important concepts in the previous video. So let's continue with the remaining part of the chapter. Now, since we have talked about chemical reaction and chemical equations in the part 1, we need to also understand about their symbols, their conditions, and how do we write a chemical equation. So, talking about the symbols, well, symbols tells us the physical states of the compounds present in the chemical reaction. It gives us more information. And how do we mention that? Gases are written with the small g, liquids with small l. Whatever solids we have in the chemical equation, we'll represent them by small s. All the solutions which are made using water as a solvent, they are termed as aqueous solutions and they are represented by the symbol AQ. These symbols are written right after the chemical formula in the chemical equation. Now moving to some other information that we need to provide in a chemical reaction, or it is given to us that we need to understand, are about the conditions of a reaction. So they are written above or below the reaction arrow. So they provide us extra information about the state symbols and the reaction conditions that are there in the chemical equation. So if we have pressure, we have temperature, we have any catalyst being added, then such information are provided in the on the above or below of the chemical reaction. Also, if we are heating, we are passing electric current, such informations are given on the arrow. Now let's move to another important topic of the chapter, which tells us about the types of chemical reaction. These are the different types of chemical reaction that we'll be discussing in the chapter. So these are combination reaction, displacement, double displacement, decomposition, oxidation reduction reactions. Now let's start and understand what are combination reaction. By the word combination, we can understand it is talking about something being combined. So we are basically combining reactants. So reaction where two or more reactants combine to form a new product, a new substance is formed. Such a reaction is called a combination reaction. So you can see over here, A combines with B to form AB. So A and B are our reactants. AB is a new substance formed. This is a product. Since A and B are combined to form the new product, we call it a combination reaction. Some examples that we can see over here. When we add water slowly to calcium oxide in a beaker, then we see the beaker becomes hot, which shows us that there is a change in temperature, which was the condition for a chemical reaction to occur. Calcium oxide reacts with water to form slaked lime. So the formula of slaked lime is CaOH twice. This is calcium hydroxide. So we can see that calcium hydroxide is also called as slaked lime. And this calcium oxide has the formula CaO, which is also called as quicklime. So what we can see that when we combine quicklime with water, heat is released and slaked lime is formed. Now let's try to understand formation of calcium carbonate. What is the formula of calcium carbonate? Remember, you have already done these cations and anions, polyatomic ions. So you must know the formula of carbonate ion. So talking about calcium carbonate, it is CaCO3. Now let's try to understand how we can form it. For this we require calcium hydroxide. What is the formula of calcium hydroxide? Yes, it is CaOH whole twice. It reacts with carbon dioxide in air, which is CO2. Once they both combine, then it forms a thin layer of calcium carbonate, which is CaCO3. So it occurs after 2 to 3 days of the whitewashing and it results in shiny finish. So it is also used for whitewashing. When we do whitewashing of a house, this reaction occurs. So we can see that whitewashing with slaked lime. So these are the Insta Bytes which is for an extra information about this particular reaction. We use this reaction in the whitewashing where slaked lime calcium hydroxide is combined with the carbon dioxide and we get a layer of calcium carbonate. This calcium carbonate layer can be seen within 2-3 days and there will be a shiny finish on the walls. One more information that I would like to give over here is marble and calcium carbonate share the same chemical formula, that is calcium carbonate CaCO3. Also the chalk that we use, it also has the same chemical composition, that is CaCO3. We can now summarize a combination reaction. It is the two or more substances, it could be an element, it could be a compound, they combine to form a new product. So few more examples we can see over here. Burning of coal. So when burning of coal means it is a sort of combustion reaction. So in combustion reaction, we see that carbon, when it is burned, or any substance containing carbon, when it is burned in air, it combines with the atmospheric oxygen and we get carbon dioxide, heat and light. So this is a combination reaction. Another example that we can see over here is formation of water. Water formula is H2O. So it is made by combining two different gases, hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. So it is 2H2 gas plus O2 gas gives 2H2O liquid. These coefficients which are written right in front of hydrogen and water show that this equation is balanced following law of conservation of mass. Now let's try to understand another sub-part of the reaction, that is exothermic reaction. So talking about exothermic reaction, over here we can see that therm word means heat and exo we can remember as exit. So reactions in which heat exit. Now when it is exiting, it will be released along with the products. So reaction in which heat is released, then such reactions are called as exothermic reaction. So what we are going to observe, that if we touch the beaker or the conical flask, it will be hot. So heat will be evolved. Now let's discuss some examples of exothermic reactions. So I just mentioned you combustion. Combustion is the chemical reaction in which a substance containing carbon is burned and it will combine with the atmospheric oxygen to form carbon dioxide, water, heat and light. Since heat is produced, so it comes under the category of exothermic reaction. So we can see over here burning of natural gas. So over here we have the CH4 gas, which is methane. It combines with oxygen to give CO2 plus H2O gas along with heat. So we can see heat is also produced in this case. Next we can see respiration. So when we breathe in oxygen, this oxygen combines with the food that we have eaten. The food that we eat, it will give us glucose. So the oxygen that we have taken inside, we have breathed in. So this oxygen combines with the glucose and a chemical reaction occurs. In this case, the chemical reaction that occurs will produce carbon dioxide, water and energy. This energy is utilized to carry out the biological functions of our body, and this carbon dioxide is then exhaled from our body. So breathe in, breathe out is the breathing part, and when that oxygen that we have taken in and the carbon dioxide that we have released, this whole process in which energy is obtained is your respiration part. So what we can see, another example as decomposition of vegetable matter into compost. So these reactions, they show that energy is released in form of heat, hence they are exothermic reactions. Now let's move to the next category, that is endothermic reaction. So you have to remember this category by the name itself. Therm again talks about heat and endo word can be related as enter. So reactions in which heat enters. If it is entering, that means it will be there in the starting. In starting we have reactants. So that means we are heating the reactants. So reactions in which heat is absorbed by the reactants to form the products, that will come under the category of endothermic reactions. So we can see chemical reactions which absorbs heat from its surrounding or through any other source that we are providing, that will be your endothermic reaction. For example, photosynthesis. So what do plants do? They inhale carbon dioxide which is exhaled by us. They get water by the irrigation. They then obtain sunlight from the sun and use energy, sunlight, and then the photosynthesis occurs by the green plants containing chlorophyll to give glucose and oxygen. This glucose is the food for the green plant, and this oxygen is exhaled by the plant, which is then inhaled by us. So in this process, we see that energy in form of sunlight is absorbed in the process. Since it is absorbed along with the reactants, it is an endothermic reaction. Another example that we can see is melting of ice. So if I take some ice from the freezer, keep it in the room on the table, then what will happen? Eventually we observe that ice starts melting. And when it melts, how it is melting? For melting, you already know that heat is required. From where is the heat coming? Yes, the ice is taking heat from the surrounding, the heat present in the room. It absorbs that heat and eventually the solid ice starts melting and forms liquid. So that same process is mentioned over here in form of chemical equation, and we see that heat is absorbed. Hence it is an endothermic reaction. Now some extra information. Talking about ammonium chloride and barium hydroxide reaction. So the equation is ammonium chloride is NH4Cl, barium hydroxide is BaOH whole twice. When they both combine, we get BaCl2 and NH4OH, barium chloride and ammonium hydroxide. In this case, we see that test tube becomes cold. Well, if the test tube is becoming cold, what do you understand by this? If the product has become cold, that means temperature is dropped, temperature is decreased. That means initially it had higher temperature. If initially temperature was higher and then the temperature is decreasing, it shows that the energy, the heat initially was more and later on it was absorbed in the conversion of the reactants to products and the temperature becomes less. So with this we can see that heat is absorbed in this chemical reaction. Hence it is also an endothermic reaction. Let's talk about the second category of reaction, that is decomposition reaction. You don't have to mug up because these definitions are itself self-explanatory. The word decomposition tells us that something is breaking. It is decomposed. In this reaction, one compound decomposes into two or more simpler forms. Why we are saying simpler? Because it could be compound, it could be element, but it will be the simpler form of the initial reactant. Now we can see that the general equation will be that a chemical compound taken initially, using the source of energy, that chemical compound will be broken down into its simpler form. So when AB is broken down, we are getting A and B. And whatever are our conditions, the source of energy, that we'll mention on this arrow. And in coming slides, we'll discuss those categories. Based on the type of source of energy we are utilizing, we'll have different types of decomposition reaction. Let's discuss some of the examples first. First is calcium carbonate decomposition. Remember, in combination reaction, we have discussed the reverse of it. So, calcium carbonate solid, when it is heated, when we keep it on heat, we see it decomposes to gives us calcium oxide solid and carbon dioxide gases released. So this is the chemical equation and this one is the word equation of it. Second example that we can see is ferric hydroxide decomposition. So when we heat ferric hydroxide, which is solid initially, so we get Fe2O3, which is solid, plus 3H2O liquid. So ferric hydroxide on heating gives us ferric oxide and water. Now let's come to the subcategories of decomposition reaction. Remember, I told you on basis of the source of energy that we are utilizing, we will get the categories of decomposition reaction. So the first one is thermal decomposition. The word thermal decomposition explains that thermal means heat. That means the source of energy to decompose the reactant is heat. So whenever we are heating a chemical compound, to break it down into simpler forms, that will be our thermal decomposition reaction. For example, if I take lead nitrate powder in a test tube and heat it, on heating we will get lead oxide and brown fumes of NO2 gas are released. So this is our thermal decomposition because it involves heat. Now let's talk about one experiment which is going to lead us to the second sub-category of decomposition reaction. For this experiment, we are going to do electrolysis of water. For this, what we require a plastic mug, some rubber stoppers, carbon electrodes, battery, could be of 6 volt, water, dilute sulfuric acid, 2 test tubes and a drill. Now what we are going to do, we are going to drill 2 holes at the base of the plastic mug that we have taken and fit the rubber stoppers in the holes, and then insert carbon electrodes into the stoppers and connect electrodes to a 6 volt battery. So what we are doing, we have connected the electrodes to the battery and we are trying to make a circuit. Now we are going to fill the mug with water, submerging electrodes into it. To this water, we will add some drops of dilute sulfuric acid. Now the question comes, why we are adding some drops of dilute sulfuric acid? Well, what we are trying to do, we are trying to make a circuit. A circuit will allow electric current to pass through it. So talking about water, distilled water does not contain any ions. So since there are no ions, so it will not allow electric current to pass through it. It is not a conductor of electricity. Now when we add dilute sulfuric acid to it, some drops, then there will be ions. When presence of ions are there, then electrons will move, and as electrons will move, then only current will be allowed to pass through it. And hence our distilled water will now become an electrolyte which will allow electric current to pass through it. So hence this way our circuit will be completed. After this, we are going to invert 2 water filled test tubes over the electrodes. Well, it sounds very difficult to imagine. We'll see the diagram to understand these steps. Now what we are going to do after this, once our setup is done, we'll turn the switch on. The moment we switch on the circuit and the current now flows, we are going to observe some bubble formation occurs above both the electrodes. The bubbles displace water in the test tube. Now let's try to understand all these steps and the observations in the diagram. Now one more thing that we observe over here is that once the electric current passes through the acidified water, the acidified water will break down to give us the 2 gases, hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. Oxygen gas is always formed at anode and hydrogen gas is always formed at cathode. So vowel will come together. Oxygen will form at anode, hence hydrogen will form at cathode. Now another important observation that can be seen over here, you can see the amount of oxygen gas formed is half of the amount of hydrogen gas formed. The hydrogen gas is double than that of oxygen. Why so? And how do we remember that? You can see the chemical equation which is balanced. In this chemical equation, the balanced equation, what we can see, the coefficients of hydrogen gas and oxygen gas are in the ratio 2:1. So in the same ratio they are formed in the experiment also. So hydrogen is formed twice as that of oxygen. That is why we see double space is present on the top of the test tube above water on the cathode side. Now moving to the third category of the decomposition reaction, that is photolysis or photo-decomposition reaction. Now this photo word tells us it has to do something with the photosynthesis. You remember, in photosynthesis, synthesis means combination. Photo was sunlight. So whenever we have utilization of sunlight, the word photo is used. So same thing goes over here. We have photolysis or say photo-decomposition. So that means using sunlight, we have taken the energy and that energy is utilized to do the decomposition reaction. So a compound will decompose due to sunlight. So some example that we can see over here. So silver chloride or say silver bromide, it will decompose into silver metal and chlorine gas, or it could be bromine gas depending on the compound we have taken in presence of sunlight. And this shows that a chemical reaction in which AgCl or AgBr, AgCl is white in color initially. In sunlight, it will give us silver, which is grey metal, and chlorine gas is liberated. Now, there is a very important application of AgCl and AgBr over here. Silver chloride and silver bromide are utilized for black and white photography. So, it is used as a photographic paper coated with silver chloride. It turns grey when exposed to sunlight. Silver chloride is white and silver is grey in color. Now let's try to summarize what we have done in today's class. We have seen that chemical reaction can be of 2 different categories depending on the chemical reaction that is occurring. So it could be a combination reaction, it could be a decomposition reaction. In combination reaction, 2 or more substances combine to form a new substance, while in decomposition reaction, a chemical compound will decompose to give its two or more simpler forms. So you can see combination and decomposition are reverse of each other. They are just opposite of each other. Also, we have seen that decomposition reaction has three subcategories based on the source of energy utilized to decompose the compound. It could be a thermal decomposition, it could be an electrolytic decomposition, or it could be a photolysis or photodecomposition reaction. With this, we have come to an end to today's class. I hope the session was interesting and you have learned the two different categories of chemical reaction. Thank you for watching today's class. See you in next Insta Owl chemistry class.